Gabrielle here, walking 2 days, day 69 and day 70. Kind of a joined blog series. The first blog was called The Inner Torture of Self-Doubt, and then the second one was called The Inner Torture of Self-Doubt, Accepting Myself as Weak. Within these 2 points, I pretty much walked the point of self-doubt and how I created that within myself and how I've existed that within that point within myself in my living, and how certain scenarios in my world manifested based on me existing within this point of self-doubt. And I have seen through walking this point out in writing and self-forgiveness that this self-doubt was brought about based on not accepting myself here, and thus searching for myself in my world, searching for myself through others' opinions of me, through how others see me, through how others perceive me, through how others act towards me. Even to very minute little things like how they touch their face, or how their face is when they look at me and talk to me. Where do their eyes go when they talk to me? So I was very keen on, finding faults within myself based on how others perceived me, and thus assuming that how others were being, such as if they were, if they looked not into my eyes but looked somewhere else, I perceived that they were thinking that there was something wrong with me, and it was something, either was on my face or there was something about me that they didn't like, they didn't accept, and thus they couldn't look in my face. And so judging myself, diminishing myself, sabotaging myself with this other person, with myself being here as life, and existing within this point of always doubting myself, always doubting who I am being here, based on defining myself by others, by the outer world. Because within myself, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't accept myself for who I was. I wanted to be something better. I wanted to be something greater. I didn't see myself as acceptable because I was having such a high standard of who I wanted myself to be. And so it's cool because I walked out a point with this form of walking, this self-doubt creating this weakness within me. And I saw the point within, I was holding on to this past memory where, I was in school and this group of kids, I've talked about this in past vlogs, made fun of me, and thus within my idea of myself before this whole incident occurred, I was seeing myself as very cool, and I had this idea of myself, and I've created this idea of myself in my head of who I was, and within this idea I was living into this idea in my world as like kind of very, like I wasn't perfected yet, but I was walking in that direction of becoming this idea of perfection that I had about myself, this expectation that I had about myself. And it was correlating with me in school. I was having a lot of friends, and a lot of people wanted to be around me and liked me, and it was like right in the time where you kind of want to be cool and popular. You don't want to be an outcast. I was like in that middle school age. And so, I was feeling great about myself, and, I was a cool kid, and I was popular, and, I was living into this idea of who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the best in the group. I wanted to be seen as the most popular. I wanted to be seen as the one that everyone wanted to be around and liked. So within myself, I had this real extreme point of perfection within myself, and I wanted to be perfect within all people's worlds, it was very kind of distorted, and it's kind of like childlike, not really being in reality at all, but expecting everyone to just think I'm the best, and it's just pretty much a form of ego even at that young age. So within myself, walking this point out, that I realized that I've kind of seen this in the past, but this point of falling within this year of being all, high, popular, having all the friends, having the cute boys like me, and, getting attention from guys and such. And then, I actually skied into a picnic bench, and I had this huge egg on my head, and then from that point on, I was seen as, like, an outcast. I was outcasted from the group. People would make fun of me based on this point of skiing into a picnic bench, and it was like going from a high, going straight to a low, like that. It was that extreme. It was pretty intense. And at the time, I didn't know how to handle it within myself. I couldn't handle the fact that I was this point of the high within the school and within friends and everything, and then I went straight to being the low, and I was like the outcast, and no one wanted to be around me. And within myself, it created all sorts of emotions, feelings, and anger that bottled up within myself. And I just suppressed everything. I wouldn't talk to people. I didn't talk to people much. So I held everything within myself. And so, within my own head, festering in, all sorts of scenarios, and defining myself by others' perceptions, perceiving how people are seeing me, always within a judgment, always seeing me as, based on people calling me out and calling me names and outcasting me. This is how I saw myself. I saw myself as tarnished and no good anymore, and I was these names that they were calling me because, why would they call me that if I wasn't that? Like, I must be this if I'm being called these names. Not realizing the, mind of humanity and how humans think and how we are within ourselves. I mean, the way I'm feeling within myself is the way every being is feeling within themselves. Scared and not wanting to be seen as an outcast, not wanting to be seen as the person that's, low, wanting to be the high, wanting to get the good feelings, wanting to get the acceptance from others, wanting to survive. So it's a game of survival, and within this game, some people don't survive. Many people don't survive, and within the process that I'm walking, within the destiny process, you realize that we don't have to live in this way. We don't have to live within the point of trying to survive and trying to, put on these masks like armor within ourselves to go out and battle people, and be so fragile within ourselves and take everything personal and judge ourselves for how we are being, and judge ourselves because of these ideas and beliefs we have about ourselves and who we have to be to live here, who we have to be accepted here. And really all of that is just made up, honestly. It doesn't matter. I mean, what matters here is, living here, is, breathing here, eating, drinking water, doing stuff we like to do physically, like creating systems here that we can physically live by, and, creating peace here. I mean, that's what is real, and that's what we have to bring about in this world. If we want any kind of change, we have to change within ourselves first. I mean, if I don't change myself, I've seen who I am within all these points, the highs, the lows, how horrible it is within yourself, and how you feel when you accept all this about yourself and you just live into these points of sorrow and self-doubt, inferiority, and then going into the suppression and, being miserable because you don't think you have all these thoughts about yourself and how others are seeing you, and then, not enjoying yourself, living, just being in misery because you can't really express yourself because you're so suppressed. Well, I was so suppressed within myself, so, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big point that needs to be stopped within myself, especially. I mean, I'm walking my own process, and if anyone is hearing this and, understands what I'm saying here, it's, a process of stopping yourself from going into these self-doubt and judgments of yourself. I mean, stopping the judgments of myself with others is a big key. I've been walking and practicing and not accepting myself to do that, and thus not going into the same point of, tonight's blog I wrote about walking the opposite polarity of that, going into the superiority point of like a defense mechanism. I'll share that in tomorrow's vlog, but there's multiple dimensions of this judgment and self-sabotage and diminishment through self-doubt and fear and holding on to past memories and believing yourself to be someone that you're not. I mean, who we are here is just life, and that's it. Anything more or less is mind. It's not real. So it's kind of a cool way to look at it, and it's, just simplify myself to just live, breathe, and walk what needs to be walked within physical, practical reality. My responsibilities, walking my correction, breathing, eating, enjoying myself with animals and nature and with what I'm doing at work, and stopping going into fear and, misery, because I don't have to be miserable. It's not real anyways. It's just me creating that within myself. And I've walked this point and I've seen the change I can be within myself. I've walked change within myself in this point, so it's just a point of continuing and stop sabotaging myself and stop judging myself. So I'm not judging myself. I'm walking the points out, the process, and we'll continue on. Day 71 is what I wrote tonight, so we'll write that or speak about that vlog tomorrow. But that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Enjoy.